Hey everyone, my name is Sarah Mintz, and we're going through the quantitative analysis midterm for MPH 516. Let's get started. Hey, all right, so I'm using the NFL Combine data for all of my tests, for my t-test, correlation, regression analysis, and my ANOVA, and I've also got the link to the data set on here as well. All right, so starting with the t-test, I hypothesized that there would be statistical significance between wide receivers in 2013 and 2014 in their 40-yard dash times. There was no issues with our skewness and kurtosis because all the data was normally distributed, and then our f-stat showed us that there was unequal variance because that the f-stat was greater than the f-critical. Causing the unequal variance, and knowing that I used the t-test assuming unequal variance, and it showed that there was statistical difference between these because the p-value was less than 0.05, and not looking at the negative value part for the t-stat, it was greater than our f-critical as well. And once again, as you can see here, that the t-stat shows that there's significant difference because the p-value was less than the 0.05, and then it does support the hypothesis that there is a difference between the two. All right, so looking at the correlation between the 2013 data for weight and 40-yard dash, the hypothesis was that there would be statistical difference between these. Once again, normally distributed data, so no issues with skewness and kurtosis. And then correlation, it showed that there was a correlation between the NFL players' weight and their 40-yard dash times, where R was 0.19. Then the effect size is that it had a small influence on the 40-yard dash because there's only a 3.6% positive influence between that. And as you can see here in the scatter plot, there's a slight difference. You can kind of see a positive trend line going up to it, and once again, it was 3.6% influence on this. And then with our regression analysis, hypothesis was that depending on an NFL player's height, weight, what they could bench press, and their vertical leap from 2013, was that we can predict their 40-yard dash times. Once again, normally distributed data, so no issues with skewness and kurtosis. And then looking into the regression, so if we know their height, weight, what they can bench press, their vertical leaps, these are all the factors that influence the 40-yard dash is what we are assuming, and that's what we're trying to find out. And then based off these stats from the data set, it showed that we can predict the 40-yard dash times with a 25.5% accuracy. And then as you can see, I also have my regression equation on there as well to kind of show us what these predicted values would be. And then looking at this, it shows us our scatter plot for the relationship between our predicted and our actual 40-yard dash values, and that there was a negative trend between these. So our predicted values were higher than our actuals. That's just kind of the fluctuation between the back and forth. So once again, like I said, it was a 25% accuracy with this. All right, and then moving into our last analysis was our ANOVA. The hypothesis was that there would be no statistical significance between the NFL players from 2013 to 2015 in their vertical leaps. Because we're only measuring this one variable, I used a one-way ANOVA, and then going back, normally distributed data, so no issues with skewness and kurtosis. The one-way ANOVA showed that there were no statistical differences in the vertical leaps from 2013 to 2015 based on the f-crit and the f-stat values. And then moving into the next slide, we'll kind of need to see what the new alpha value would be, which was at 0.16667. And just to kind of try to figure out if our hypothesis was true or not, using the Bonferroni post hoc test, anything that had a p-value greater than 0.16667 would show that there would be no for statistical significance between these. So looking at this, seeing from 2013 to 2014, 2013 to 2015, and 2014 to 2015, all of these show that there was no statistical significance in their vertical leaps. All right, and then to kind of summarize everything that we kind of went through, so all 4 tests. To begin with, we went through looking at the 2013 and 2014 wide receivers. It did show that there was no difference between them. So wide receivers and their 40-yard dash in 2013 was just as fast as those in 2014. Going into our correlation, so it showed that the more the NFL players weighed, the slower their 40-yard dash times would be. And then going into our regression, for us to kind of predict 40-yard dash times, as long as we know their height, their weight, what they can bench press, their vertical leaps, we had a 25.5% accuracy of predicting these 40-yard dash times. And then going into our last one for the ANOVA, this showed that there was no statistical significance between the NFL players from 2013 to 2015 and their vertical leaps.